So I've been involved in the design process of over 1,000 clothing items, hundreds for my brand Tame Psychotic, and then also hundreds for countless of other brands that I've consulted for. And it's worked out pretty well. I'd say I've done over 6 figures in a 30-minute period for my last 3 clothing drops. And you know what? That's enough for most people, but I'm not most people, and neither are you, which is probably why you're watching this video. So I decided to fly to China, Hong Kong, and Japan first month of 2026 and talk with the biggest manufacturers, suppliers, and players in the game to kind of just figure out exactly how I could get my brand to $10 million a month. Research, communication, and learning was my entire goal for the month of January, which is why I'm here in Asia. While my objective doing this is engineered towards pushing my own brand and my own goals, I also did this to do as much research as I could into last year's performance, this upcoming year's performance, the purchase orders that are being placed right now in the beginning of the year, to kind of help you guys get an understanding design-wise and production-wise what it's going to look like getting to your first million. So my first step was sitting down and doing a complete analysis of the Q4 output from all of the highest yielding clothing brands in 2025. I spent a lot of time using tools online to basically get a good scope of other companies' sales, spent a lot of time on Facebook Ads Manager to get an idea of what ads are being run the most and what in general is getting the most engagement on Instagram, TikTok, what's getting the most views, what's getting the most hype. And that is pretty much a good indicator of the products that are currently crushing, the products that are going to crush here in this next coming year. So with that being said, I want to dive into a few principles that I think you guys should really keep your thumbs on this year when designing and creating to ensure that you are creating the right products. So principle number 1, I'm calling it the newfound awareness of the silhouette. In fashion and in streetwear, silhouette is a word that defines the shape of your outfit. And a good way to think about this is, how would this outfit look if you were standing far enough away to see the shape of the human being, but not the details of the outfit? Maybe you couldn't see the jewelry. Maybe you couldn't see the headwear and the graphics and all that shit, but what would the shape of the outfit look like? That is what silhouette is. And more people are becoming aware of the power of silhouette. I think the industry-wide understanding of how goofy the ATL skinny jeans were and how it made you look super goofy with like a big boxy top and like really skinny bottoms and then some big shoes, like the understanding of that and this shift towards baggy clothing, baggy bottoms specifically, is pretty indicative in my book. I've also just seen a lot of fashion and streetwear creators educating people in regards to silhouette being kind of that first step in leveling up your fashion personal style game. So with that being said, I've seen a pretty significant shift away from graphics and away from these kind of like surface level details that make an outfit look better, away from the bright sneakers, away from all over graphics and stuff. And I've seen it shift more towards really simple, blank, plain pieces that people are just really proud of. And my personal style itself has shifted towards that in the past few years. I no longer wear these big giant graphics that I wore whenever I was a teenager. Now I just wear blank t-shirts. People really don't need like a giant graphic or message anymore. They just need something that fits really good, that makes them feel classy, that makes them feel good. We've also seen a hard lean into people kind of embracing the way that their body looks and really prioritizing their physique. A couple indicators of this would be the trend on social media where it's like, first outfit I'm wearing this summer, and it's them like shredded or like looking good, dyed down in the summer, tan and shit, right? And we've also seen a lot of clips of Rick Owens talking about the best couture of an outfit or like your look in general is your physique, is your body. As we've seen popularity in that subject grow, we've also seen popularity in clothing and silhouettes that accent and really complement your body and your physique also become more popular, right? Which means better fitting garments, which means the fit of the garment has become top priority. I've seen that shift really hit hard. And if you don't live under a rock, you've probably seen 100 ads from a few companies that are just selling shit tons of the best fitting blank t-shirt or the pants that make you look taller. And for me, that's a direct signal to the market kind of maturing towards supports that kind of blank, elevated, good fitting, silhouette prioritized outfits. And while these pieces may seem very, very simple, you would be surprised they will probably contribute to, I would say, a majority of my brand's revenue through this year. And I've seen multiple other brands, I've spoken to multiple other brand owners that have experienced the same result. A lot of the LA-based brands have experienced this at mass brands like Pool House New York. I think they've sold over 100,000 of those simple white fitted muscle tee shirt. It's literally just a blank shirt, and they've made 8 different variations of that same fucking shirt. So obviously, whenever a company is spending so much money on ads that you see an ad from them like every 30 minutes, and they've made 8 different variations of a product, and they're making bold ass claims like selling over 100,000 units of that product in the ad, then you know the company's rinsing. And I know the people who run the ads and do a lot of the marketing for that company, and I know how well that company and other adjacent companies who are selling similar products are doing right now. Why did this shift happen? What happened? How did this even come to be? For me, there were 3 cultural indicators and kind of just motivating factors that I believe caused this shift. The first being the rise of the TV show called The Bear. In this show, the main character wears this white t-shirt, and this white t-shirt kind of has this like 90s, early 2000s fit where it's like a little bit tighter on the sleeves. It's not as long, it's not as boxy, it's more fitted to the silhouette. And this shit blew up. I remember seeing TikToks with hundreds of thousands of likes of people green screening an image from the movie and being like, where did he get that shirt? And the brand Pool House New York was the prime example of seeing a cultural indicator and capitalizing on it, because they made that a huge part of their marketing. And that's how I even got introduced to that whole world of brands, right? Is by seeing all the bear shirt videos on TikTok. So this really had a ton of brands, including my own, rethinking their design strategy, where we're no longer thinking about what's the next graphic that we can make that will hold relevance for a couple of months and then fade out completely just like every other graphic, to more so how can we refine the details of this fit and this pattern to become something that people wear on a daily basis, like every single day, something that they'll buy over and over. So the second cultural indicator that I've recognized that supports this kind of statement that I'm making is the return to this kind of like late 90s, early 2000s style, which if you go and look at those runways, you're not seeing big graphics, right? You're not seeing these crazy bright colors. You're seeing like vintage clothes, like what everybody now would consider vintage clothes. You're seeing super, super simple, calm, timeless shit. And that leads into what I would consider the third cultural indicator. And that's kind of these 2 buzzwords, one being timeless wardrobe and the other being capsule wardrobe. And basically what that means is a closet full of clothing that won't phase out in the next couple of months, a closet full of clothing that could last a decade if need be, a closet full of clothing that you could wear on a daily basis and not get shit on for, right? If I wear an old vintage t-shirt that doesn't have a crazy just graphic and a bunch of other shit on it, it's something you can't really shit on because it's timeless, right? It stands in a very neutral zone. It lasts a long time. It's never going out of style. Whereas graphics and graphic styles go in and out of style, just like you saw V-Lone, the revenge shit. It came in and then it left. But plain white t-shirts, plain black t-shirts, good denim, that shit never goes out of style. Now, it is now become harder to make those items because so many people are focusing on the details that if you want to really make an item that sells well, you have to really lock in, really create something that has a feature or has a component that other brands do not have. But if you can figure it out, you will be swimming. Not only will you be swimming, but you will be worn all the time. That's what I'm going for right now. Right now, I am really, really working hard to crack that fucking code, which is why I'm in China right now, learning and working as much as I possibly can. Now, principle number 2 is going to be the rise of the slim man, right? And what I mean by that is basically a shift in the industry from embracing these ultra baggy silhouettes that you saw were really big last year and the year before to moving towards slimmer silhouettes. The jeans are getting a little bit more straight leg. The leg openings are shrinking a little bit, right? And that is largely due to what I believe to be the heady boy trend. What is the heady boy trend? Well, heady is a term that refers to the French designer Hedi Slimane. So in the early 2000s, Hedi Slimane really changed fashion pretty much forever. In the 90s, these really like buff, ultra athletic models were like the shit. Think like Bruce Weber's most athletic builds, right? But Hedi Slimane, whenever he took over Dior in the early 2000s, he really changed shit. See, this guy was casting like random street kids, musicians, skaters, people that weren't necessarily models, but people that he thought matched his vision, right? They were primarily these really skinny, slender, long, androgynous looking boys with like long hair and shit, right? He called this boy safari, where he would just go out and kind of like pick randoms that he thought matched his vision for the look and the line and the clothing in general. And his aesthetic for design in general was like slim suits, skinny ties, skinny jeans, leather, kind of the rock and roll vibe. And I believe that during this time, he really kind of shifted the definition of masculinity and how it was defined by fashion, really shifted it from these big boxy silhouettes, right? The bodybuilder next door to like the mysterious kid in a band down the street that you see practicing in the garage. And while in the past like 10 or so years, we've seen a shift away from that to the more baggy end of things, we are now seeing that pendulum swing back, just like it does with every other element of fashion. The pendulum always swings away and then it swings back, right? Because when everybody starts wearing something and it's really popular, people start getting tired of it and people want to be different. So the pendulum swings away. But as much as a lot of people don't like skinny jeans, they don't like silhouettes, we're seeing that pendulum come back and it is coming hard. And we're primarily seeing it in new age rock and roll and hyperpop. You're seeing that look and it's getting popular as fuck, whether we realize it or not. I honestly was unaware how popular the Two Hollis look was until I went to Complex Con and went to the Two Hollis performance and saw the people there. I was like, damn, like they're really worshiping this dude. And this look is kind of killing it right now. It's kind of fucking fly. So this rock star look, who is this for and what does it do for you, right? Well, number one, it slims your look, right? So if you're a shorter guy, you want to look taller, this slimmer look is really going to aid you in trying to achieve that. If you are a little bit skinnier, you can't really pull off the baggy shit because it just kind of hangs on you like a trash bag. This look is really going to help you kind of to just look more put together. Specifically, if you can target the skinnier crowd and the shorter crowd, you're going to really crush it. You need to find a silhouette that suits the customers and the target audience for your brand. If you are marketing to bodybuilders, you may think this Hedi Slimane shit is not relevant to you, but it is 100% relevant to you because it is proof that if you make clothing that accentuates the physique of your target audience, you will fucking rent. A great example of this on the skinny side of things is a brand called Witness Valley. Witness Valley has blown the fuck up with a few pair of jeans, and it's just because they take the right pictures and they make the right products to suit their target audience. And it's going crazy. I've seen posts with like 30,000 likes on their shit. They're not even a big brand yet, but they are. They're bigger than people realize. And if you guys do this and you guys take that principle into any target audience, whether it's bodybuilders, skinny guys, fat guys, jacked guys, big women, little women, fat women, skinny women, you are going to crush. But as people find clothing that they wear more and more often, they have less and less of a desire to buy new clothes, which opens up a really, really good opportunity for brands that I've seen for my brand specifically in the last year do very, very well. And that is accessorization. Because when you don't need new clothes, you still have that urge to jazz it up. You still have that urge to kind of stack your swag. And the easiest way to do that, if you already like the clothes you wear, is accessorization. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time trying to convince you guys that accessories are going to be huge because you probably already know it. And if you don't know it, after I tell you these 3 advantages they give you, you're going to. All right. So advantage number 1, they're cheap to make. That's the biggest thing, right? Making this M2B bomber jacket is a lot more expensive and a lot more time consuming in the development process than making a wallet or making a phone case. There's a lot more variables that go into wearable clothing that you have to worry about than there are accessories. If you're making a wallet out of leather, a wallet is going to fit everybody's back pocket. It's going to fit everybody's cards. There's no variance. There's no sizing that you have to, I have to buy 20% largest and 30% 90% mediums and 10% small. It is literally just primarily one variant, and then obviously you can just make other winning variants of that winning variant. So the second is going to be creative freedom. You're not limited by fabrics, you're not limited by comfort, you're not limited by function. You can really just kind of go crazy on it, get creative with it, because accessories are not meant for excessive function. This coat, for example, was not created for swag. It was created to be a useful jacket for people in the military, right? It was used to keep motherfuckers warm, whereas a phone case is mostly swag, right? A wallet is mostly swag, a wallet chain, a necklace, a pendant, a ring. So the boundaries are much, much wider. And the third basic advantage is that they create layering opportunities for already good outfits to make them pop even more. Now, obviously, everybody knows this, which is why everybody wears jewelry. People wear chrome, people wear rings, people wear hard jewelry, because layered on top of an already good outfit, it makes it even better. That is obvious. But I do want to touch on some examples of how accessories have really taken brands to the next level. Accessories have taken my brand to the next level. I would say it probably accounted for 30% of 2025's revenue for my brand Tame Psychotic. Van Cleef, we've seen that surge over the past 2 years. I would assume they're little Van Cleef bracelets that are all trendy that people get as like a fucking status symbol or whatever. Those have probably accounted for probably more than 50% of their revenue in the past 2 years. I mean, you've seen tons of brands like Goyard, right? Their little card holders and wallets and shit. That has been fucking massive in the past several years. And it's just low-hanging fruit. At the end of the day, it's probably more affordable than a lot of the clothes that these companies wear. It's definitely more affordable than a lot of the clothes I wear. For my brand, our accessories are some of our cheapest items. You basically just find an accessory that feels like an extension of the clothing that you already make. Now, I'm almost done talking about accessories, but before I finish, accessories are a way to build brand loyalty like no piece of clothing can, and that is due to daily use. I've already talked about touch points on this channel and my Chat with Marsh page, where I make short form concepts kind of like this, but daily use and touch points is much higher with accessories and home goods than it is with clothing. Whereas I may wear this jacket once a week, I'm using my custom lighter or my ashtray or my fucking sunglasses. I'm using that shit every day. I don't take these bracelets off. I don't take my ring off. I don't take my earrings off, right? I walk around with that shit and people see it every single day. So that's touch points, which creates more loyalty to your brand, more awareness from other people seeing it in a user generated sense, and that all attributes to more sales for your brand. But wait, before we get into principle number 3, I have a gift for you guys. On January 27th, 28th, and 29th, I will be hosting a free live class, and I'm going to be helping you guys walk through the process of building your brand, explaining exactly how I built my brand that does over $1 million a year and how you can do the same thing. It's for free. If you guys want to save your seat, just click on the link in the description. It'll take you to a description of kind of what the event is, frequently asked questions, all that jazz. Just do it. You're going to learn a fuck ton. Go ahead and block those days off your calendar. They are going to potentially change your life. The last time I did this, I had probably 200 to 300 people share stories on their Instagram and tag me of like 4 pages of notes. And then I got messages for months after telling me how fucking awesome it was and how much it changed the game for them. So if you want to change the game for yourself, go save your seat. Now, back to the video. So this next principle we're going to talk about is something that a lot of the top brands are doing, but nobody really talks about. And that's something called a referential design. And what referential design is basically just creating things that clearly reference a past work of art that was appreciated. That could be TV shows, it could be clothing, it could be works of art, it could be movies, you name it. So things that your people already love and respect that live outside of what you've already created for your brand, to kind of give people external reasons to come and fuck with your brand other than just like the clothing that you're making. So for example, we'll take the brand 2J's. They did an entire collection around Lamine Yamal and FC Barcelona, which is like a massive soccer club in Europe. And they understood that their audience cared deeply about football culture, so they created products and marketing campaigns that reference it and pay respects to it on another level to kind of get their audience further engaged in the brand. For my brand, Tame Psychotic, we've done a lot of military references because our audience appreciates that kind of just like grungy, hardcore, going through hard shit to achieve achieve a larger goal kind of culture. So for us, it could be military jackets, it could be Zippo lighters from the Vietnam War, it could be military totes, it could be hats, headwear that they used in the military. And Virgil Abloh's 3% rule that you've heard me talk about and other YouTubers talk about time and time again, honestly, like, pours heavily into this. The whole idea behind the 3% rule is to take something that's been previously appreciated, change it by 3%, add an element to it that refreshes it for the current world, and to re-release it. And when you see all the major players doing this, you can't really prove it wrong. So the idea here is not to reinvent the wheel, it's to bring new and fresh ideas to already appreciated ones that already work, to basically ensure that what you're creating is something that other people will enjoy. So here's how to find your references, right? You're gonna ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1 is, what era does my customer romanticize? Number 2, what cultural moments resonate with their identity? And number 3, what garments or styles do they already respect and wear? For me, it's military, it's workwear, it's vintage active wear, it's early 2000s rock star aesthetic. For you, it could be 90s grunge, it could be 80s hip hop, it could be Japanese streetwear. It's really just whatever you resonate with personally and you feel your audience and your target audience will resonate with. The point here is, stop trying to be 100% original and start trying to pay homage and respect and bring in elements from other things that your audience and your community will appreciate. Now, principle number 5 is going to be character maxing your products. And this has honestly been a core principle that I have used to get to $1 million with my clothing brand. And basically what that is you are showing the development arc of a product, right? You're not showing just the final perfected product. You're showing the arc and the development. Just like movies and TV shows will get you to fall in love with a character by showing you the development arc of the character, right? If you can showcase a product developing and maturing over time, you can get people to fall in love with the story of the product. And this is honestly what most brands get wrong. They create one product and they feel it's perfect, and if it doesn't sell, then they just quit and move on to the next product. But the best products are never going to be version 1s. They're never going to be your first attempt, right? The best products are products that you've tried once with, you've experimented, you've gained data, you've tried another time with, you've experimented and gained more data, right, on what people like. You make iterations of it until you finally reach that golden iteration that's like, boom, that's it, right? And people have seen version 1, version 2, version 3, and now version 4, boom, it's perfect. It's something they resonate with. They've fallen in love with the story, the development of that product, and now they're bought in, they're invested, and now they want to purchase. Now, a great example of this would be a product from my brand called the Maverick Denim. All right, now we have done we've done 4 versions of this product. We've sold 3 of those versions. The first version, the V1, was created at the end of 2023. We dropped it. It did really, really well. It was a product that we could definitely tell our customers resonated with. This version was a very basic wash, very basic distressing pattern. Then we wanted to kind of like iterate that product a second time, and the V2 was basically the same pair of jeans, just without the distressing, and the fit was just a little bit different. It was a little bit slimmer. The leg opening was a little bit smaller, and that one we didn't like as much. Version 3 was different colors of that version because we still believed in that version. We were like, I feel like this can still work, but maybe let's try some other colors. So we created version 3, and that was the OG color, right, with the OG characteristics, just more of those characteristics, right? And we kept the same characteristics that made the original garment what it was, but we added those kind of like elements that made it kind of like its final version, the evolved version. And that is still to this day my favorite pair of pants. I wear them all the fucking time, those pair of pants. And it's a product that our audience really, really loved, and they loved seeing the evolution of the product. And I think that is probably one of the most powerful things you can do with your design and with your brand over the course of like a longer period. And there's 2 psychological reasons why this works and why it worked for us. Number 1 is people enjoy seeing the natural evolution of an object. In the same way that people enjoy seeing salvage denim gain its natural patina and its natural creases and lines and fade over time, the same way that people enjoy watching a leather jacket go from pristine, brand new condition to having all of the feathering and the whiskering and the cracks and the underlayer and seeing it kind of age. We enjoy seeing a puppy that we get whenever we're 16 years years old grow into a full-grown dog by the time we're 21. It's just something that we like naturally as human beings. And the second reason is just that development over time assigns more perceived value, because when you create something that people can see was difficult to obtain, just like the patina on a pair of salvage denim, it's difficult to obtain. People appreciate it because it tells a story. Things that are hard to get are worth more, point blank, period. And you know what? Just to give as much value as I possibly can in this video, I'm going to give you guys a timeline and a strategy to do this character maxing with your own products, okay? So month 1 and 2, you are going to showcase a problem that you are trying to fix. I have this problem in my wardrobe. Here's what I think could fix it. For me, it was, I love vintage jeans, but I hate how most of the ones I find at the thrift store fit. How can I combine that vintage look and vintage feel with the more modern fits and modern cuts and modern patterns? Month 3 and 4, you're going to document the rounds of samples, right? Oh, like I liked this, but I didn't like this, so I remade it, right? Oh, I liked the fit and I liked the wash, but I didn't like the distressing and I didn't like the hardware, so we're gonna change it. Month 5 and 6, after telling the story of the development, solving a problem in your own wardrobe, you're gonna drop version 1, right? And you're gonna document the process of selling it, dropping it, and showing how much people loved it. And then month 7 and 8, you're gonna announce the drop and the release of a version 2, right? With whatever additional features that your audience feedback cued you to make. And then in months 9 through 12, you're going to drop version 3 with just enhanced elements overall from all the data that you've collected, right? We've made our ultimate version. And when you do this, your community feels like they're involved in the creation process, like they hold stake in the development and the story of the evolution of the item. 2, you create demand for each version of the product. 3, you make a version of the product that suits everyone's taste. So instead of covering this much of the market, you're covering this much of the market by creating different versions that suit different people's taste. And number 4, you just create a hero product that is built on a massive amount of data and a massive amount of supporting evidence, right? So you can probably just make a product that's going to sell super well just because you know so much about that product that you're able to make something that's just really, really good because you paid attention to the details, took time to make something, and experimented with it to make it the best rather than just guessing the first time around and it landing or flopping and then you're moving on to the next thing. Now, I have a bit of homework for you all to apply these 5 principles. Step 1, you're going to audit your current product lineup, your current product deck. You're going to go through every single product that you have or that you want to drop in, ask yourself these questions. Is this focused on silhouette or just graphics? Could I create an accessory version of this concept? What am I referencing and does my audience care about it? And can I show the evolution of this piece? Step 2, you're going to design your core silhouettes. You're going to identify 2 to 3 silhouettes that you feel suit your audience, basic pieces that fit that silhouette, and you're going to create them in multiple colorways with multiple graphics, multiple different variations. Step 3, you're going to develop your signature accessory. Pick one accessory that you believe aligns with your brand's DNA and go deep on it. Make it your signature. Don't watch a shit ton of accessories. Take a lot of time on that one accessory. And then step 4, you're going to map out all of your references. You're going to list 10 cultural touch points that your audience respects. These could be eras, movements, subcultures, icons, whatever it is you feel aligns with your brand culturally. And this is what you're going to use as your referential design pool for marketing campaigns, products, Instagram posts, whatever. And then step 5, you're going to choose your hero product. You're going to pick one product to character max. You're going to go through the steps that I talked about earlier. You're going to document the process of developing it. You're going to show the character development, the design development, what you like, which iterations you liked and didn't like, which ones sold best, which ones didn't sell best. You're going to collect a bunch of data as you make these different versions, and you're going to refine it, and then you're going to make your fucking hero product. Now, every brand uses these principles, whether you realize it or not, and the sooner that you adopt them, the sooner you will take your brand from here to here. Just like my student Christian, who did $100,000 in Q4 of last year, just like my student Olga, who who did $10,000 her first drop. These guys adopted and used the same principles that I'm teaching you here, in addition to all of the other things that we teach in Urban Unity. And if you'd like to do the same with your brand, I'm opening a few more spots in Urban Unity to take on students this month to help push you guys in 2026 and hopefully make some more brands that pop up and do some crazy numbers. You can apply with the link below. But if you're not ready for that yet, I'd highly encourage you to attend my free live masterclass on January 27th, 28th, and 29th. You can find the link for that in the description as well. Please be there for this. You are going to learn so much. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited for it. With that being said, I'm going to pop up a video right here that I'd like you to watch next, and it goes just more in depth to the marketing principles that we talked about in this video. And for now, I will say sayonara, and I will see you in the next one.